Hello, this is Linda. I wanted to give an overview regarding this particular species of tetra that has become somewhat popular. The common name is red-eye, red-line tetra, or red-striped tetra. The species is Hemigrammus, Rubrostriatus. It's become popular because a couple of YouTubers have featured it. Oliver Lucanus with Below Water, and Fish Shop Matt and MD Fish Tanks had it on their rare Tetra tank build. Quick disclaimer, I don't do this for a living. I put out a little bit of content here and there if I think there's a gap in information and it might help someone. So I don't have fancy editing equipment. I don't have a studio. You're going to see some glare. The camera's going to be focusing in and out. Please bear with that because I'm pretty much here just to give you guys some raw data regarding keeping this newly popular species. Mainly because I have found and learned that they're a bit more sensitive, and I didn't see any data regarding the best methods for feeding them and keeping them. I'm going to give you my experience and the water parameters that I have learned from people who do know this species so that you can have the right tank set up to keep these fish happy and healthy. Number one, the biggest problem I ran into with these fish, they are wild caught. Feeding can be a little tricky. They are taking flake and pellets, but you have to be careful that it's micro pellets or flakes so that it's soft and or easy for them to swallow. They are an omnivore according to the Wet Spot, which is where I bought them. They need more vegetable matter in their diet. Too much rich food will cause them digestive distress, obstruction, and death. I've lost 4 of these. The first one I lost, I think, due to shipping stress. 2 were already acting pretty puny the first day I had them. They died later. And then 1 I was able to observe when he was in stress with rapid breathing that he showed pretty clear indications of digestive distress and died. So since then, I have started feeding them very carefully, 1 time a day, Hikari micropellets. I have New Life Spectrum Optimum Community Flakes on the way because they're a little bit lower protein and have a better vegetable profile in them. So that is what the Wet Spot feeds them, is tropical flakes. So I'm going to stick with the Hikari micropellets and flakes for these guys. And I watch them very closely when they're eating. I'm very careful to not overfeed them. I can't stress that enough, guys. I really think that these fish will overeat. They will gorge. They will get either too rich of food too fast in their system, or they eat too much, too large a pellet, and you're going to get an obstruction in their digestive tract and they will die. So that's why I'm kind of emphasizing that right off the bat. I think the second thing that anyone needs to know when keeping these fish is they come from fairly acidic waters. I believe the Wet Spot, if you dig enough around on their website, you can find a little blog about them that around 5.55 pH is what they're experiencing in the wild, and the Wet Spot recommends a pH of 5 to 6.5. My tanks run pretty steady at 6.5 to 6.8, so they'll do okay with that. But if you're running a higher pH than I'd say 6, 8, 7 at the max, you might run into some trouble, so just keep that in mind. The other thing about these fish is I've been told they have a little bit of attitude, that they can be a little bit aggressive and nippy. You see an angel coming into the shot. I haven't had that problem myself, but be aware that they can be. I do believe that you need to have the right amount of them in the right size tank. Right now I've got 13 of them in a 66 gallon. And so far, knock on wood, no aggression. They're getting along great. The other thing is temperature. The Wet Spot keeps them at 72 degrees. Most of my other fish, I don't think they would do well that cool. but WetSpot says anywhere between 72 and 78, 79. So if you have a tank with other species that need warmer water, I'd steer away from these guys. They are a beautiful fish. I do recommend them, but again, the med manager, the person in the know at the WetSpot told me, and I'm quoting, that they are extremely touchy fish to keep, so they're not for a beginner. Lastly, the last two things I should say, because they're kind of one in hand, one and the same, is keep them in a tank with tannins and have some high flow areas. They appreciate flow. The one video I saw them, they are in a stream habitat with vegetation on the margins and a sandy bottom. Of course, we might find them in different areas with slightly different biotope, but the one video I could find of them in the wild, it was a very clear but stained tannin stream with a pretty good clip on the current, and they were swimming right into that current. Very strong swimmers, these guys. They're a little bit on the bigger side. These ones I have now, I'm going to say, are a little over 2 inches. I've heard reports that they can get 2.5, 3. So they're not a teeny tiny nano tetra, but the nice thing is they can hold their own with larger angels if they get along with the angel, and if your angel is not exceptionally aggressive itself. The one I have, I've had him for years. He's a pretty mellow angel, so no problems there. So in a nutshell, guys, a gorgeous, gorgeous fish. If you have the right setup and you can put together the feeding program that they need, I think they'll do well for you. They are touchy. They're not a good beginner fish. They're very pretty. To show their best colors, you will need some good lighting. Right now, it's mostly natural lighting coming from this room, and I think they look nice, but they can look even better with like a high quality full spectrum light. I tried them with a Finex Planet Plus 24/7, and that seemed to put out a better light spectrum to show them off. So that's about it, guys. Again, just wanted to give you a top level view of these fish since they've become somewhat of a hot ticket, hot item. You want to make sure you have all your parameters, make sure you have the right kind of food, small food, lower in protein, higher in vegetable matter, and just be prepared to have plenty of space, super clean water because they're wild caught. Keep up with your water changes, keep up with your filter maintenance. They're going to be a little more demanding, but if you can do it, they're worth it. Have a beautiful day and take time to enjoy your fish tanks. Bye-bye.